So this is our new attention signal for the entire school. So every classroom is using the chime to get the kids' attention. And it's amazing how it's actually working wonders. The kids hear that and it's just automatically, it calms them down and everybody gets quiet. It's kind of been a miracle signal so far. So that's been pretty fun inside. And then we're doing the whistle outside. So we're training them all to be great Del Mar Pines citizens. So welcome to the Lunch with the Director. So I put together a slide. It's pretty similar each year. So I'll go over some of the new things that we're doing, show you the parent survey results, and then answer any questions at the end. So. For just going over our vision, mission, and values. So our vision is still empowering students to create a better world. Our mission is we challenge minds, nurture character, and respect individuality in a supportive community. Our values being respectful, responsible, open-minded, and empathetic. And our expectations for our graduates, all students will leave DMP demonstrating integrity, compassion, accountability, and a growth mindset. So the growth mindset is saying that your brain grows, and your skills grow. You're not just born and you can either do things or you can't. So everything in life is you can always get better, you can always improve, you can always grow. And when kids say they can't do something, it's like, well, you can't do it yet. But it's always that you just have to work for it. Nothing comes easy. Life is not about doing things that are easy. It's about doing things that are hard and challenging yourself. Every year, all the members of staff are CPA and first aid trained, and our AED in the office, which we hopefully will never have to use. Our annual parent survey, so I always ask for 100 responses, and I got 97 this year, which is the best we've ever done. So that was very exciting to be able to get a lot of input from our parent community. And overall, we're really happy with our results again this year. So I combined strongly agree and agree. The choices are strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree to these statements. And so Del Mar Pines School is living its mission statement, 95%. And just like kind of grades, if we're in the 90s, I'm really happy. When we're in the 80s, it's okay. We don't want to be below that. Del Mar Pines School is living its vision statement, 97%. Del Mar Pines School is living its guiding principle, is we don't just teach, we help students learn, which is important. Del Mar Pines provides an environment where all members are treated with respect, 93%. Provides an environment that fosters honesty and personal accountability, 91%. And I think these should even get higher this year with all the responsive classroom that we're doing. I think we're going to see these scores improve. School facilities are adequate to support students' learning, provides a safe and orderly environment. That's even getting better. Like so far, everything's so calm, there's no running on the white. So our new phrase is walk on white. So anything, all the concrete, they have to be walking, and they're doing a great job. Del Mar Pines School math program was effective this year, 83%. This is really low. This is the lowest it's ever been for us. And it's very interesting because our math scores are through the roof. Just as a school compared to other independent schools. But I think math is an area that parents have very strong feelings about, that we want our kids to excel in math, and they really are. But it's something that I think parents still don't understand the program so much. We are looking at Eureka Squared. We've been using Eureka Math for about the last 7-8 years. There's a new upgraded program by the same company called Eureka Squared. We have 4 teachers piloting 1 module in that this year. That it looks to be pretty good. So I think we're going to be seeing if this is going to be a better program for our students going into next year. The questions are a little more relevant. It's making the reading level more age appropriate. So it's not a reading test, it's testing math skills. But it's still, the math rigor is there. The problem solving, the applications are all still there, which are really important. Our language arts program was effective, 97. Social studies, 96. And science, 92. Hands-on program provides engaging lessons, 93. And the hands-on science program that they do with Ms. Fritz ties into what the science is that they're doing in the classroom. Our Spanish program provides exposure to language and culture and gives students the opportunity to interact in Spanish, 72%. This is always a tough one because I think parents don't really know how their kids are doing in Spanish because they're not going to be coming home and just speaking in Spanish. For any language acquisition, speaking it is always the very last thing, that it takes a long time to get there. So our kids, they actually do have a pretty good vocabulary. There's a lot of reading and writing that they're doing, but they're not speaking it as much. But they're actually doing pretty well, and Ms. Fritz is trying to do a really good job of communicating with parents once a trimester about what she's been doing in the classroom, sharing the songs and the activities, and sending home work that the kids are doing on a trimester basis. Our technology program, I think he's doing a great job in technology. Our whole focus is to teach them relevant apps and programs that they're going to be using in life. So it's not just game-based or anything like that. It's really teaching them Google Docs, Google Apps, creating web pages, being able to use, to be able to do their writing in documents, to be able to share with others, and being able to use things that they're going to be using in middle school, high school, and beyond. And they're starting coding and some other fun things as well. Our music program, 93% with all of the performing, singing and playing instruments, movement listening. Our spring sing, I think it's amazing. We're doing Little Mermaid this year, which is going to be very, very cute. Our arts program, everybody loves art with Mrs. Robinson. She's amazing with all the different projects that she has. PE, always the most popular, so everybody loves PE with Coach Fortin. Classroom teachers provide a reasonable and appropriate amount of homework. This is still a tricky question too, because some parents always want more homework and some parents want less or no homework. So trying to balance that is tough sometimes, but we really think it's important to we try to stick to that 10 minutes a grade. Kindergarten has no homework. First grade should be 10 to 15 minutes. By the time they're in second grade, they're probably doing an hour. Typically, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. But we are trying to prepare them for middle school and beyond. And it's the time management, it's being independent, taking on the responsibility of having homework, doing it, and bringing it back. So we're building habits that I think is the most important. Our ancillary teachers are effective in inspiring your children, 95%. Classroom teachers are effective in inspiring your children to do their best, 96%. DMP curriculum meets the overall learning needs of your children, 95%. So that's kind of the main goal, is what we're doing meeting your overall child's needs. We want well-rounded children in lots of different subject areas, as well as social emotionally too. Classroom teachers communicated my child progress this year, 93. Weekly emails and Instagram accounts were effective, 90%. This was interesting. Some parents were saying there's too much communication. it kind of gets overwhelming. So I have talked to Holly Smith, who's our parent group president, who kind of is in charge of all the room parents. And I think last year some room parents were just copying what the teachers were saying every year or every week and just resending it. And if the teacher said something, the parents don't need to send it again on the same day. So to be focusing on what's important for that class, whether it's like a class party or getting chaperones for field trips, to make it more individualized so the parents aren't getting the same thing all the time. But it's better to over-communicate than under-communicate, so you can always hit delete if you don't want to hear it. Oh, and the Instagram accounts, hopefully you're all watching the Instagram accounts because they really are so cute to be able to kind of see what's happening in the classroom on a regular basis. DMP report cards are an effective form of providing feedback, 96%. DMP provides sufficient opportunities for parent involvement. Between our Science Discovery Day that's coming up, and I need a lot more presenters. We have our Fine Arts Day, we have our book fairs, we have Family Movie Night coming up. We want a lot of, well, parents just get to come to that, there's no work involved. Our Halloween Carnival is coming up, so there are lots and lots of opportunities for parents to get involved. Classroom teachers provide timely and constructive feedback, 93%. The director responded to parents' needs in a timely and effective manner, 96%. Director responded to students' needs in a timely and effective manner, so I'm happy overall with those. Parent survey results, this is always, every year it's pretty much the same. But I just went and picked a bunch of comments from people that are pretty consistent. It's almost always the teachers, the students, the community, the small size, personal attention, supportive and nurturing school, teachers recognize and support each student's potential, all the ancillary classes. So it's always fun to go through these and show the teachers what a good job that we are doing, and how people really are happy. Everything, we truly love DMP. So that's kind of the bottom line that makes us, that's something we want to see. The DMP Foundation for Education is successful in its mission of supporting and enhancing the experience of our students, 96%. And now I'm going to introduce Joelle Panoranda, who is our foundation president. She does an amazing, amazing job.
This is my third year being the president of the foundation and my fourth year being on the board. So it's kind of like a routine now, right? So I just wanted to tell her what every student parent, really what the foundation is here for and how we make Del Pines a better school. So it's a nonprofit organization and we raise funds for the school's education needs that tuition doesn't ever. And it helps to keep the tuition costs very low, right, Anthony? The donations are tax deductible, and the school leadership and teachers, they request a grant, and then we will address it as a need arises. And you also take any that you put in the parent survey, we'll look at that and see what other needs the parents want at this scale. If y'all have anything to do with school policies, this is all just for the students and the teachers. You have two main highlighters. The first one is the fall campaign, which we're just starting to kick off. The second one is the spring gala, which is super fun. I have some pictures, actually. The WHO is on the foundation, and we are a group of motivated parent volunteers. We have Megan and we have two of our 11 board members this year. And these are some pictures of our 2023 Bollywood in the dark. And then this is our Year the Dragon photo. It's a lot of fun. We already have the date. It's March 8th. So mark your calendars. It's fun to get a group of your class to go and just have fun and raise money at school. And these are our class ambassadors this year. They'll hear from them at Open House. It's next from the 6th Wednesday coming up. Yep. So if you have any specific questions for your class, they can help better answer questions. who donates to the foundation is our current and extended family members and grandparents that send inviting, board members, alumni. We also do a lot of corporate matching, and I have a list at the end of all the companies that support corporate matching. And also our Del Mar Pines teachers donate as well. But what are we raising money for this fall campaign? So every year we do technology purchases. So every kindergartner starts out with a brand new iPad, and they carry it with them until second grade. And then all the third graders get a brand new Math Pro. So every fall campaign, we really focus our spending on getting everybody these new technology. We also are funding a lot for Young Artist Day, which is usually in January. Then any teacher professional development, we like to grant the teachers CE days, just to further their education in their specialty. We do cancer events, speakers, and most recently we brought back the social event space to Megan. We are doing family dances and a lantern walk, and then provide pizza and a DJ. So all of that is part of what the funds will be for. And so what Special Projects has the foundation funded in the past. In the last 4 years I've been here, I kind of accumulated some photos over the years, but in 2020 we were able to have an app, we were able to have hand sanitizer, purification systems, and it's all provided from the foundation. So we've had really close measures with all the kids being able to show up on campus, which was all provided by the foundation. That was a shade that we had put over the playground area that year. We've also done some music curling that we're in, so you'll see cellos here, the guitars, drums, pianos. Mr. Spurgis has requested a lot of music. As you know, our play and our spring sing is just really, really top notch because of all of these great technology. We've had color laser printers put in, we've had detectors put in, a 3D sensor, and that's it. Considered an iPads and Zap books. In science rooms, we've provided microscopes, we've done remodels. Now they have a total done everything. Yeah. For the robotic plan. And most recently, you've all noticed that we have new turf that just went in this summer. We also we've done the playground resurfacing, and the main this summer was the custom shed. So they're actually right back here. They're really nice. It provides so much space for the teachers to store summer school, any extra projects, costumes for all the spring sing, all the little plays. So it's so organized back there now. They used to be old, and now they're nice. So that's made a huge difference. We just had all the 11 plastic sheds back there for the last 20 years. So we're just a complete mess. And now we're super organized, and Mr. Spurgis has 2 huge sheds that he's already filled to the brim, but I got a lot of things out of here. So we have been able to clean this room up a little bit, and have a bigger stage for the plays. And then even these past since January, we did a full classroom refresh. So we have new desks, new chairs. Almost through every grade has new chairs and new desks. The teachers that's kindergarten have this organization area, and if we use the projector and stack books, so they really like that. And then this is the 6th grade table. They like that because it's more of a round table discussion, and the chairs bounce a little bit. And then the fidgety kids, room to bounce. So the big project that we did this past year. So how much are we asking for your families to donate? So over the past 10 years, our ask was $300 per student. This year, as a board, we decided that it's about time to increase this cost to $500 per child. However, it's whatever you can donate and whatever works for your family. We also did some averages from the past year, and we have some very large, generous donations. And when we did an average, it came out to $600 per student that we're actually getting for the fall campaign. So we felt that $500 wasn't really too off. They take cash. Cash and checks are the best, because for Venmo, we actually have to pay a small percentage, and PayPal, I think it's also a small percentage too. So we really do prefer cash and checks, but Venmo is just convenient. And for goal 7% of 100% participation. And so last year it was 94%. So we have a lot of support from the school. So it's whatever you can do. And then the next slide are either all the corporate patches. We'll have the flyer at back to school night, but we have a lot of companies from all the parents who work in science and technology and everything that their companies are able to match whatever they donate. So that's been really nice as well. And lastly, basically tuition, Marcy, I'm going to say this number because I think it's really impressive, but Marcy is able to keep tuition so low because the foundation provides so much for our school. And we looked at 10 schools, private schools in San Diego, and Del Mar Pines is 36% lower in tuition costs. So I just wanted to mention that when you're donating, we're really bridging this gap of a stellar education here at Del Mar Pines. Okay, let's see the star moves throughout the year, or throughout the next few weeks of our class participations. So, thank you.
Yes, Joelle does an amazing job with the foundation. She's a fabulous leader, and we really appreciate all that she does for us. Bye. So another thing that I'm really trying to focus on is parent education opportunities, because parenting is hard, and there's always ways that we can all do better. So I've got 3 different workshop opportunities so far already scheduled for the fall. The first, and I got these ideas mostly through the parent survey because that's one of the questions we ask. What are some parent education that you would like? And these were pretty consistent. So the first one is talking about social media, connected devices, navigating children's use of connected devices and social media, which is iPads, phones that parents should not get kids, but I know they do. And Ken Harris, who has been our technology, kind of overriding technology person for 25 years. He has 4 children who are in middle school, high school, and college. He's going to be coming and doing this talk, and he's very knowledgeable about all things technology, social media, and he's done an amazing job with his kids of having them not hooked on social media and having boundaries, and really teach kids or parents how to have those boundaries for your kids, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and just being smart about what your kids are doing online. We know kids have them from little kids, or we're seeing with the iPads and things, and maybe there's some better options. The second one is a new person, Melissa Schwartz. She is a therapist for highly sensitive children and sensory processing disorders. So she's going to do a talk on understanding those kids. And you don't have to have a diagnosis to be able to know that sometimes your kids are just really sensitive, and so what they need and how you can kind of help them work through whatever it is going on. And it's good for everybody to be able to know how to just help your child learn to manage themselves better. And then November 14th, Hildy Gross is coming back. She did 3 workshops last year. And this was a popular topic and what parents want: navigating tween communication, empowering parents to guide, listen, and support. So those of you who have tweens or are about to, they just developmentally, they're changing, and they don't necessarily want to listen to you as much, and their friends become way more important. But it's still important that you keep those connections going in a positive way. So those are the 3 talks we have so far. If you hear of anything in the community that you think would be good to bring into Del Mar Pines, please let me know, because we could have 1 or 2 more the rest of the year. Spring gets really busy, so that would be a tough one, but if there's something maybe in winter that you're interested in, we could get those topics. But please come to these, because they are very, very interesting, and I think you'll all learn a lot. So I was talking about just academics and our test scores. So every year we take the CTP5, 2nd through 6th grade, take the CTP5. That's a nationally standardized independent school test that gives us independent school and national norms. Our students always are way, way, way above just national norms, but we also are great against the independent schools. So the blue is our Del Mar Pines averages 3rd through 6th grade. So for all of the different subtests, and I mean, our program really does work. So let's face it, we're awesome. These are all the things that I think we do that's really unique about our school, is providing a nurturing environment that's physically, socially, and emotionally safe. And we're even working more on that this year. Emphasizing good citizenship and character education, teaching a range of enrichment classes. I think having weekly enrichment classes in all of those 7 subjects is very unique and special, and I think the kids get a wide range of experiences and exposure. Go beyond normal academics to respect others and self. Offer performing arts at every grade level. To me, I think that's one of the best things that we do, because I think the performing arts just helps build self-confidence in kids. There's so much teamwork that goes on to it, public speaking skills, and just feeling comfortable in front of an audience. And they're also so proud of themselves. And the parents are so proud too, to be able to see your kids performing and working together on some amazing performances. That's just, when performance season starts in January, that's just my happy time, because I love coming to every single one of them. Develop outstanding public speaking skills. A lot of that's because of the performances, but also the poetry memorization that they do in kindergarten and 1st grade. All the reports and presentations they do in the upper grades, it all adds to that. We're a close-knit community that knows your child. I sit in on all parent-teacher conferences, kindergarten through 6th grade. There's lots of opportunities for parent volunteers, all our special schools events and field trips, our after-school enrichment program. Hopefully you've gotten information on that, but those are exciting to be able to give the kids another chance to try something new. And our excellent resources to enhance education. That's basically our DAMP Foundation that really does help provide so much over and above for our kids. So this is what we're doing. We've adopted this year, is called the Responsive Classroom. And our school-wide classroom expectations at Del Mar Pines, we are safe, responsible, and respectful. So it's basically breaking into what is truly important, what do we want our kids to be, and keeping the rules very simple and straightforward, but they're also very broad. Like safe incorporates a lot. It's physically safe for yourself, for others, emotionally safe, how we treat one another, being responsible. That ties in so much to their work habits, to being an independent thinker, being resourceful, being disciplined and determined, and respectful is how we treat others with our words and our deeds and our actions. So we've just introduced this to the kids on the first day of school, and they're already just responding really, really positively for it. The whole point is balancing academics with social skills, and there are these daily routines that all the classrooms have started too. There's a morning meeting every morning for 20 to 30 minutes where the teachers are guiding discussions, teaching them how to greet one another in a positive way, learning about each other and kind of what makes them the same, what makes them different, how to work together. It was very cute in 4th grade today. I went over and they're meeting outside, and they were playing a game that they had to try to count to 21, but they were sitting in a circle, and only one person could talk at a time, and they had to figure out how to count to 21 in a group because if 2 people said the number at the same time, then they had to start all over again. And the first day they got to 2, second day they got to 7, and today they actually got to 21 when I was sitting there watching them. And one of the girls kind of took a leadership role and was kind of pointing at people, and so they've kind of figured out, like, everybody can't talk at the same time or that's not going to work. And we have to look at one another and see like who's ready, who's not. They came up with a signal if they'd already said a number. So in 3 days, they just figured this little project out, and it was very, very fun to see. So I think we're going to get a lot of activities, or a lot of bang for our buck on the morning meetings. And there's also a way to bring in academics too. So it's kind of, there's a lot that's incorporated into these, but I think it's going to be great. The clear expectations and logical consequences ties into interactive modeling, that we're trying to be very, very clear of what our expectations are, what we're wanting them to do. And then the interactive modeling is really teaching kids step by step in a very explicit way what you're wanting them to do. So you can't just say, line up. Kids don't know what that means. How do you line up? Are you just going to race to the door? Are you going to knock your chairs over? Are you going to run into people? So they're just kind of going step by step of how the morning routine works, how we get from one area to the other. And it's just very, very interesting to see how kids are responding. Because I think there's so many times that we just say, do something, and we just expect them to know how to do it. Last year was an example, was at our end of year flag salute when the kids were getting their awards at the end. These were our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. And none of them knew how to like shake a hand and get an award. And we were shocked, like, how do they not know how to do this? And we're like, well, we haven't taught them that. So how can we expect them to do it if we're not teaching them? So we're explicitly teaching them how to get an award, how to look at somebody and take an award, shake your hand, and be able to do that in a respectful way. And I thought they did a great job today to be able to do that. So I think we're learning a lot. And I think as parents, it's really important to understand when you ask them to do something and they don't do it, is it because maybe you didn't teach them what your expectations were and how you wanted them to do it? Because they can't do it the way you want unless you teach them how to do it. So I think as a parent, I wish I had thought of this 25 years ago because I think I would have parented differently, but I think it's a really strong, positive way to be interacting with kids and adults anywhere, anything. You just can't expect people to know what you're thinking or what your plan is unless you tell them. A student choice and engagement, so it's giving the kids, when it's appropriate, as much choice as possible, because I think that does lead to engagement, and a lot of stimulating activities that the teachers do a really, really good job of here. So they're not just lecturing at them all day, they're really getting ideas and input from the kids and having them have some choice in how they're going to approach an assignment or a project. And then collaborative problem solving. So it's really teaching kids how to problem solve with one another through guidance and through there's a plan of using iMessages. I didn't like it when you said you weren't going to play with me today. And then having the other child listen, having the other child be able to respond back, so that we're teaching them how to solve problems and how to come up with solutions with each other. The goal is eventually they can do it by themselves, but with teacher modeling and guidance from the beginning. Any questions on responsive classroom? Yes.
By the way, I read this is on me. That's amazing. Next level. The logical consequences, how does that work? Like, what are the consequences? Like, if they do something wrong, or is that what that is?
Yeah, so an example is like if kids are throwing food at lunch. Okay, a logical consequence is for them to go pick up the food and be able to clean up the area where they made a mess. An illogical consequence is to have them clean up the whole school. So it's kind of making it tied to whatever the misbehavior was. Or if they're hurting somebody, how can they repair the relationship? So it's just kind of teaching them to be able to understand what they did and how it impacted others, and then be able to try to repair it. I don't know, the kids have been so good right now. Like the kids who have run, they've forgotten, they're running. It's like, just go back, try it again, and walk. Like, this is just what we're doing. But right now, we're just in really training phase about what's going on. But yeah, it's trying to think about what was the rule that they broke, and then how can they figure out what would make sense. Amit, did you have a question?
What was the impetus, like considerations for adopting like a framework like this? Like what went into that?
Yeah, last year there were just some child behaviors that were happening, and we were trying to be consistent, but we were seeing the same things happening over and over. And it was interesting because we were looking for a new kindergarten teacher when Kate was moving to first grade before Mrs. Poynan wanted to go in there. And we were just seeing in people's resumes, like responsive classroom, educated in training, and talking to more people, these words in this program just kept coming up. So I just started researching it along with my CIA team, and just the positive things. It just made so much sense to all of us, and being able to just be clear, to come up with like short rules that kids can actually know of what we're looking for, what our expectations are. Yeah, so it was just something, and I think a couple things on the parent survey. There were some parents that felt like the kids were not necessarily being 100% respectful and responsible at school, and how can we improve that?
So once y'all ironed out, kinks and get the students learning kind of reasonable to, can we have a parent FAQ on how we can extend that code to just for continuity and to make sure we're all reinforcing the same stuff ever in school?
Yeah, I could try to have a meeting with that too. But if you go to Responsive Classroom, their website, they have so much information on there. They have tons of videos that are really just talking about different aspects of the program. There's tons of books that are out there as well. There's also something the parents are going to be getting at back to school night in each grade. It's developmental kind of order of traits that kids have typically. So what a typical 4-year-old looks like in their emotional, academic, and social being. So like for kindergarten, it's looking at 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. And it's just giving parents kind of a guide to where your child is now, and kind of how to move them forward. And that's a responsive classroom activity. It's from a book called Yardsticks. There's a ton of research of what kids act like at every grade level. And kids all mature at different stages, but it all proceeds in a certain order. So I think that'll be fascinating for the parents to be able to kind of see, because I think sometimes parents have unreasonable expectations for a 5-year-old. Like, they're not going to be, I don't know, I can't think of one right now, but it's like just being reasonable and to understand, like, this is developmentally where your child is. They are going to have tantrums sometimes. They are going to break the rules. They are going to kick and scream and get upset about different things. And that's just normal kid behavior. And in academics, like, there's a certain time where they will take risks. There's a certain time where they won't, that they don't want to do anything wrong. So hopefully that'll be a nice guide as well. But there are a ton of resources out there. So I read like 4 different books, but I was looking at a lot of the videos too, because they're really well done.
You put logical consequences, like my kid is probably would be different than your logical, for here. So I'd probably go harsher. When it comes to logical consequences, I might have a little fear of going and see instead of
Right.
That happens in cutting. So even having a database of logical consequences that you have had to avoid as a result, then you shouldn't do same thing at all. So just steady. Then for that one benefit.
Okay. Well, I'll try to come up with one. But I was just trying to think, like, cleaning your room. When you tell your kids, like, go clean your room, that's a very broad thing that could have so many different meanings. And so I think to show the kids exactly what you're talking about, like when I say clean your room, that means pick up everything off the floor? Do I put it in the hamper? Do I need to fold it and put it in the back in my drawers? Like, what is your definition of clean your room? And so that's just one example. Or even doing the dishes or setting the table. Like, you can't just say set the table. It's like, okay, what do you mean? Be clear on what you mean by that. What are all the steps involved in setting the table? And I am a huge believer, even when kids are really little, having them start having jobs as soon as possible. And because it starts building that self-reliance, it starts building that self-confidence, like I can do these things, and mom and dad think that I'm capable, that I can do these. But they're probably not going to do it the same way that you would do it, and to really give them reasonable expectations about a 5-year-old's going to set the table very differently than a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old. So being able to make them appropriate and reasonable and things that they can be successful at, because you want the kids to be feeling good about it. But I think so many parents, it's like it's so much easier for you to just do it yourself and not have the kids help, but then you're kind of robbing them of the opportunities to be able to get skills. You don't want your kids going off to college, never doing laundry and never cooking for themselves or having basic skills that they're going to need. So you think kind of where do you want them to be in the end? So we have been fully accredited with Western Association of Schools and Colleges, WASC, for a long time now. It's probably 15 or 20 years. Our next full study is actually this March, where a visiting committee of 3 people from other schools, mostly LA, come down. We have to write a 50-plus page report, that we've been in the process of doing that. And then these people come, and their job is not to be judging us. Their job is to be able to say, does the school really do what it says it does? So there's all this criteria and there's all this report and evidence that we're putting together. And then these 3 people come over 3 days. They will be wanting to talk to parents, so we'll have a parent meeting one of those days. They talk to all the teachers, they get in all the classrooms, they talk to all the students, as well as administration, to see if we're walking the walk and doing what we say. So it's a lot of work, but it's a really good process that schools who are accredited have to go through. And it's constantly on improving yourself, and even for the best schools, you can always improve. So this I mentioned a couple of these things. So several teachers are piloting the Eureka Math Squared for one module. That's the updated version of our current program in math. The responsive classroom that we're doing school-wide. 2nd and 3rd grade are, actually 2nd through 5th grade are implementing a Not So Wimpy teachers writing program that we're really excited about. I think 5th grade was doing it all last year. I think 4th grade started it, and now 2nd and 3rd to try to work on continuity. 1st grade's researching a new decodable reader series that's going to be aligned with Saxon Phonics, which is our Saxon program. They're using primary phonics now, but we're just looking to add to it to increase the variety of what the kids are reading and to really be streamlining our phonics approach. Communication, weekly emails, Instagram posts. 5th and 6th grade use Google Classroom for most of their assignments, that parents have access to all of those. And there's a lot of open communication. Probably the best way to communicate with parents or with the teachers is through email, and they'll always get back to you within 24 hours. It's really hard to just try to stop in because they're probably teaching or getting ready in the morning. It's really hard to get them at dismissal time because they're trying to watch their kids at dismissal. So if there is something you want to talk about, just emailing them and just trying to set something up is a great way to do it. Our early dismissal, the Torrey Pines early dismissal is when we have our late start days. So every other Wednesday, we get out at 3 o'clock instead of 2:30. And we're using those extra half hours. Sometimes it's catch-up times, but a lot of our No Place for Hate activities and meetings are going to be taking place during that time. And some spring sing cast rehearsals are going to be during that 30-minute block too. So since they're here at school, we might as well take full advantage of the opportunity. I'm still in the head of independent schools group, that there are the heads of 20 different schools in San Diego. We meet quarterly just to share ideas, have discussions. Sometimes we bring in speakers, and it's a great way for us all to stay connected. This was hugely important in COVID. We met every single week on Zoom. That's how we got through it all together. But now like I said, it's about quarterly. But they're great people, and I love the heads of all the schools, and we have a great relationship. And there's Dev. So I think we're ready to have a really terrific year. So I think the teachers are excited. I'm excited. Your kids seem excited. And the parents seemed really excited to send them to school on Wednesday. So that was very fun. But any questions? Nothing? Anything you want to? Sure, Sadie.
After 2:30, like if we were to keep them in the after-school care, what are they doing for like till 5:15?
Usually the first hour, they're just playing outside because they've been in school all day. So it's kind of a fun, free play time. Then usually about 2:30, 3:30, about 3:30, 3:45, they usually go into the sixth grade or the science classroom. And there's just different games and activities. There's drawing, there's building, there's Legos, there's a bunch of different things. And the kids just have fun, and they're working with others. It's nice because it's all ages in there. There's a certain group of kids that's in pretty much every day, and then there's other kids that are just there on a infrequent basis, but they seem to all love it. It's pretty unstructured because they've been in structured school all day. The more the enrichment classes are more set classes, that there's a little bit more structure to those. Yes, Megan?
Can we force them to do homework during that time? Is there any?
You can. For the kids who have homework, usually the kids are on these benches and they're sitting there doing their homework. Sometimes they're doing it with the others, and so it's kind of fun for them to be able to sit down and do it. Well, no, but if a parent says, like, my kid's going to be in for an hour and that's their time to get their homework done, then Miss Lewis and Mrs. Bave can say, like, this is your time, Devin. You can sit down and you can get your homework done. Yep, and just say they're going to be in so many days a week, and just say this is a good opportunity. And tell Devin, being a responsible student, this is a good time to be able to do it. So when you go home, you don't have to do it. He's like excited but he just wants to play. I know. Yeah, say get your homework done, or at least get a good start on it, and then you can play. Anything else? Yeah, Pamela.
I really appreciate this year the North Grade offering the Math Olympia after school program. So we're going to go pick them up or drop them off to other places. Really appreciate. And my question is there any teachers can take them to the competition, or is the math legal or something? Or
they do the competitions here at school. Yeah, they do it in school. So I'm not, I know it's said Math Olympiad. I don't know, there's 2 math programs that they do. And one's MOMS, I know they do that one. And I think there's another one, but I can't remember what that is. But they do the contests here at school. So they're paper-based ones that I think they have, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7 tests, and they do have to grade them, and then they send the scores somewhere. Yeah, so I'm not an expert. Michelle Hancock and Mrs. Canzoni are the 2 that run Math Club. And they've been doing it for a long time, so they definitely know what they're doing. But yeah, it's a fun program. And the kids who like math, they love it. So it's a good opportunity. Anything else? Yeah, no, go.
I'm just really appreciative for the school. I think it's amazing, and I'm like so excited. A couple other questions. The extracurricular activities, about how much on average should we put our kids in? Like I know it's like up till Monday, Wednesday, Thursday or something. Is 3 too much, and does it continue on throughout the year?
There's 3 different sessions. So there's fall, this is the fall session right now, then there's a winter session, then there's a spring session. And it really depends on the child, especially in kindergarten at the beginning. Sometimes the kids are just tired after school and they just need to play and relax and chill. I know there was a family last year who had kindergartner and they put him in aftercare every day in the enrichment classes, and it was just way too much for them to kind of stay focused to be able to do that. So I would think you kind of have to know your kid, maybe start with 1 or 2 days a week, and then you can see if he's loving it and wanting more, then you could sign him up for something else in winter and spring. But the kids who are in aftercare, a lot of them just like the unstructured playtime a little bit more. But also for kindergarten, I mean, it's really hard if you leave them until 5:15 every day, because that is a long day for 5 and 6-year-olds if they're starting at 7:48 in the morning. So at least at the beginning, I always recommend like maybe start them picking up at 3:30 and then 4:30 and kind of ease them in to the whole school thing, because it is a long day and they're learning a lot and everything's new and different for them. So it takes them a while to get used to it, but they will.